somewhere else.
An undisclosed
Undisclosed
location.
Yeah, we are in a top secret bunker that we cannot tell you. It's the gear bunker. Gear bunker.
Yes.
Hey guys, you're a fan from Pakistan. Oh, Pakistan's awesome. Hey Pakistan. When I was a kid, my favorite thing about Pakistan was I used to paint airplanes, and you had the coolest paint jobs on your F-16s. It's true. So Pakistan had the coolest paint jobs on F-16s. Says, Siberian Wow says, Phil, would you accept an apprentice? Of course. We're going to hit record now. We're now doing the Gear live show. Let me explain what happened. We had technical difficulties. We did it from the shop, and what we found out when I tested this on Tuesday, I tested it here at the office and not at the shop. And even though the gear is fine, the problem was the internet upload speeds are horrific at the shop. So we are going to do from here now. So we drove all the way here and set up again. I know this is late and cutting into the Johnny Bean time show, but we still felt we should do it just because because we started it. However, from now on, we will do it at a different time than the Johnny Bean show and stuff. So hopefully nobody is leaving the Johnny Bean show. If you're watching that show, watch that show and just watch the recording of this later. So Jay Medina says hi. Hi, Jay Medina. That's cool. Your first name is just the letter J. My middle name is the letter J. I'm not kidding. I wish that was a joke. It actually is. Sean Regal said, did you ever get the time to listen to Corey Feldman's new album? Did you?
Nope. Didn't know he had one.
Yeah, he was on the Today Show. Or I watched the thing. I actually thought it was entertaining. He's an entertainer, and it was weird and entertaining. I think that's what he went for, right? I think that's all that mattered. I watched it to the end. You know how hard it is to get somebody to watch something to the end? So I think he did a good job. And I believe he believes what he's doing is, right? Cool. So, very cool. We're going to be doing a theme today. Today's theme is gear that manufacturers stop making that we think they should bring back, or you guys think they should bring back. Mm-hmm. Somebody put in the Facebook today the Crate Power Block.
That was going to be one of mine.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I don't see why they stopped making it.
I know why they stopped making it. What happened was the company that bought them, which was Loud, right, was the company. The purchasing department purchased way too many of them. They got a flood of them, and then they clearanced them, and then that devalued it, and then so they stopped making it. So, Oh, Sean says it's really bad. The album hurts. Ooh. Yeah, it's it's Corey Feldman. Maybe right? You can't make teen movies anymore. So. Alex Sandar says, "Hey, Alex Sandar." Ed McMuffin's back. He says, "If you got $10,000 for a rig, what would you buy? Also, you don't." Oh, it can't be anything you already own. All right, go. $10,000 rig can't be anything you already own. So no Les Pauls for you.
Can't be a different Les Paul?
Just can't be anything you own.
I'm fortunate enough to have a lot of the stuff that I want. But I don't have a Gibson custom Les Paul.
So, okay. Well, that's easy.
That would be one of them.
That's $4,000?
Yes.
All right. So you got $6,000 left.
Off the top of my head, I'm trying to think of what amps would be right.
You like those Splons?
Splons are cool, right? I don't know. It definitely would be one of those things where I'd have to take some time to think about it. Oh,
not me. Okay, ready? I would probably get it out of my system a Sur Strat. Right?
Right.
A $4,000 Sur Strat. I get the Axe Effects pedal board for effects.
Okay, does it 15?
Yeah, $1,500. So that's 55, right? Mm-hmm. I would get a
no amp.
No, I need an amp because that's just the effects. I would be using that just for effects, and then I would probably get. That's it, right? Because with that kind of money, you can have whatever you want. I don't know what kind of amp. Just some kind of.
That's where I was stuck.
Yeah. That I don't currently own. I'd probably, because I have the effects, I'd probably get like the Mesa Boogie Lone Star, cabinet combo again, and then maybe a couple sprinkle other pedals on there. So, Richard Johnson said, "Do you ever use resonators?" I don't. I've never done. I'm not bad. I'm horrible at slide work. You do slide work?
No.
Yeah, slide's like another slide. Me personally feel slide is another instrument, right? So if I see a slide guitar player, I actually consider him another type of player, another skill set. I have a slide that I dork around on and try to do, but
I fail at it too.
Yeah, it's horrific. And then oh, okay, it says so Siberian's like, have you ever played a Fender bass 6 or baritone guitar? Any opinion? Yeah, I've owned a couple baritones. You ever own a baritone?
I've not owned one. Played them.
I had the Tacoma baritone acoustic for a while. That was cool. And then I had the Mike Mushok PRS baritone for a short time. And you know what I found is I now what I do is I have a 7-string. I don't know if I have one in the room. I don't. I have a 7-string, and when I want a baritone, I just use that. I just retune it real fast and ignore the high string, and that gets it out of my system. And somebody said, "How about use as well?" But I don't know what that means. Richard John said, "Cheers, cheers, Richard." So you're saying cheers, so you're probably on the other side of
England.
Yeah, England. It's probably late there or early. I don't know what time it is there. It gets a little tricky to figure out the time zones.
You need to have a bunch of clocks.
Yeah,
like
we
all
should
the
put
different
clocks
time
in
zones.
here. Well, that'd be a good idea, actually. You can go down to the IKEA and just, you know what? I'm going to do that.
Just like the air.
That's ingenious. I'm going to put them right there.
So you'll know.
You figure, right? You need just U.S., right? No, East Coast, West Coast, which will cover Canada too, right? Okay. And in Mexico, and then you have England, Europe, right? Europe, and
Middle East,
like Hong Kong, right? Yeah. I'm gonna do that.
All right,
you can buy a clock at IKEA for like $4.
Know your time.
Know your time. So, I'm saying I want to say Seong Kim. It's Seong Song. I'm going to say Song. Is it Song Kim? Song says cheers from South Korea. Very cool. South Korea is awesome. They make all the good guitars now. Isn't that where your Schecter's made? You love your Schecter?
Love it.
Yep. There is. Sean Dado says, new mic, audio sounds great. Sean, here's the trick. If you notice the last couple videos, the audio quality's jumped up. I'm actually using all the mics. The mics are good. Definitely good quality mic. This is the iRig Studio mic. But what I did is to improve the sound. I never thought about this before, and I'm ashamed of this. Instead of improving the mics, because the mics I use are all decent mics, I actually now have foam in here, so you don't hear sound bouncing anymore. So the room is dead.
It's very quiet.
So yeah, so you're hearing a crisper sound because the sound's not bouncing. So I improved it that way. Oh, it's pronounced Yo Song. Oh, it said what? Oh, Yo Song. He's just saying Yo Song. What part of Korea are you from? I get it. Okay, I missed it up there. Riley says it's 040. What is that? 048 in England?
Yep. So it's just after midnight.
Yeah, just after midnight. Let's see. Mike James is saying you probably need 17 or 18 of the clocks.
Yep.
Yeah, well,
I agree.
Good. Yeah, Mike, you're probably right, but
we don't have that in the budget. But,
yeah, even at IKEA, that's just too high. I can't have they won't even fit in the cart.
No.
So, have you ever guys made a pedal? I made a fuzz pedal. It's okay, but making it was fun. You know what? Somebody asked me the other day, and then even Lawrence was asking me. So I have a buddy who's built a bunch of these. Monty Ellums?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right? Monty Ellums. I have a buddy who bought a bunch of these kits, Pat, and he made this, and he gave it to me. And so I've never put one together myself, but these are those kind of put together kits that are really cool. Songs from Seoul, Korea. He's from Seoul. It says, Wonder new PRS SE line still uses Korean-made pickups. Yes, they're still using Korean-made pickups. They use world manufacturing, and if anything, they've had such a bad experience with some other manufacturers outside of Korea that definitely Paul and those guys are letting the Korea guys take care of more and more stuff. So because they're building quality and that's what they need right now. So yes, absolutely, they're Korean-made pickups that are clones of the American versions. Do I know anything about the Seymour Duncan 8440 combo amp? Rhino 23C. Rhino 23C, is that the one with the modules that pop out? The modules? It's modules on that Seymour Duncan amp?
I'm not familiar with
if
that
it
one.
is, the only thing I know is I'm pretty sure it's made by Bruce Egnator. It's an Egnator before. Yeah,
okay.
it's
With his modules?
Yeah, it's an Egnator licensed design. So let me put that back. So yeah, and those amps actually are collectible now. I think they get like $800 for them. All right, Insomniac Matt says, this is for Joe right now. Ready? I'm thinking of getting either a budget Jackson or a budget Ibanez with some sort of floating tremolo. Any suggestions? What do you got?
I got a dog.
Yeah, the dog just
saying hi to me.
Yeah, the dog's here.
Could you repeat the question, please?
Yes. Insomniac Matt's asking, I'm thinking about getting either a budget Jackson or a budget Ibanez with some sort of floating tremolo. Any suggestions?
Ooh, a floating tremolo.
Yeah.
Those are evil. No, well, your followers know how to block floating tremolos if they like. So,
Yeah.
So, you know what? I'm not even sure of the model numbers anymore. Any of the $300-$400 range Ibanez RGs?
Well, you can get the old ones.
Oh, used.
Yeah, Japanese dinky stuff. Yeah, of
$500, right?
Yeah.
$400-$500 used Japanese Ibanez all day long, right? RG 470, RG 550s.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, the 550s are kind of climbing.
Yeah. Well, the 550s in colors, you can get black still for about $600. But if you get the colors,
yes. But yes, that's what I would do.
I don't want to skip anyone, but what's your opinion on the Gibson 2017 lineup? I've been watching the Chapmers. Robin, you've been watching Chapmers and Entertons go through the 17s?
I have not, but I heard the neck profile
right
is different.
Yeah, I heard that too. I don't know what I think of the new colors. Some of those new colors are beautiful, but I don't really find them Gibson. If you haven't seen them, they're like purple burst with like blue, very PRS colors.
I like them. Right?
Yeah, I like them too.
It's not traditional, but
it's weird. It's a very PRS vibe to me, though. You know, right? Not a very Gibson vibe, but maybe that's cool because it's different, right? Maybe we're sick of looking at the same 4 Gibson colors. Thoughts on Stag Strats? Saw one in a pawn shop. Greetings from the Netherlands. Yeah, Stag's good. Stag's a company that makes all kinds of stuff. I mean, they make trumpets. They make rock cases. They make picks. They make everything, and they make a line of guitars. And their guitars, as long as they're affordable, low price, they're worth the money. If you can get one cheap, it's a good investment because they're good guitars. They just don't hold a lot of value. That's why it's got to be a good deal. Riley's saying, I have a budget of $1,000 for an amp and cab. What would you recommend for metal and prog and blues? That's easy, right?
Marshall?
Well, $1,000 for a head and cab.
Use Marshall DSL.
Yeah, use Marshall DSL. Use PV, right? Because you can get a 6505 and a cabinet. Not for blues. Yeah, you can't do blues. You're absolutely right.
Now combos, tons of them for $1,000.
Prog, yeah, because you know what it is, Riley? It's prog to blues is the trick, right? How do you get that heavy gain and then still be able to get the amp to clean up? You know what amp I really like for that? You know what? Here's my opinion. The 3202 by PV has that great clean channel, has a heavy gain channel, a heavy gain channel. That amp's, and it knew it was $1,000, so it's you got to be able to pick one up for use for $500-$600, and you can buy a 412 cabinet. It depends where you are, right? I keep hearing from everybody overseas that it's a different story, but in the U.S., 412 cabinets are worth nothing. You can find them
$200.
A couple $100, and no one's buying 412s.
Check Craigslist.
Yep. The Eric's asking the thoughts on the MXR El Torino Overdrive. I'm pretty sure it got discontinued. I'm pretty sure. And it was really cool. It has an Eric Johnson kind of vibe. Wouldn't put it in my top 10 pedals. I actually own one, and then I got it out of the collection, but not because it was bad. I just wasn't using it. You try it? Did you try it? Yeah, it was good. It's $100. I think for $100 it was cool. The what's a reasonable price to pay for a basic setup? From Craig. Craig, it's easy. First of all, a basic setup should be something you should do. You should know what to do yourself. You don't need to know you don't need to do it. You just need to know what that is. But the problem with that question is it usually by demographics. It's where you are, right? So if you're in a town and there's one person that does it, they're probably going to get top dollar. And if you're in a place where they're oversaturated, the price comes down. So that's tricky. Generally speaking, prices, I've never seen anything lower than $35, and I really don't see anything higher than $75 to $80, right? Mm-hmm. I know that's a kind of a spectrum, but reasonably everybody expects to pay $50 now, I think. Is there a setup?
It's right there, yeah.
Yeah, that's a sweet spot. I know because I charge high on the higher end of that, and I know some guys that charge on the lower end. But I give a 1-year warranty with mine, and that's not really normal because I give a printout. Let's see. I missed the question because somebody's responded to it. Oh, he's telling me the Stag was cheap. So good. Yeah, if it's cheap, go for it. Attack of the Pacifist. That's a cool name. Attack of the Pacifist. Do you have any kind of preferences in tubes in your amps? I don't. Do you?
Nope.
Yeah, I don't care. Groove tubes seem to piss me off. They seem to not work a lot. I just mentioned that to the Fender guys, and they said they're going to take that into advisement.
Now, did he mean brand or like EL34 versus...
Oh, I don't know.
6L6 or...
Yeah, Attack. It says, do you have any kind of preferences in tubes for your amps? If you mean brands, I'm going to say no. I tend to go Electro Harmonix because they're made in Russia, or JJs. JJs are cheap and safe. Some people, like all kinds of Sovtecs. I mean, I found... whatever these that come with, I leave it alone. I'm really not a tube guy that way. I don't yank tubes and try different tubes very often. Sometimes preamp tubes a little bit, right? But if it's types of tubes, I don't have a preference either. So if it sounds good, it sounds good. Right? I love the saying, if it sounds good, it is good. Okay, Sean says Steve Vai versus Ralph Macchio, but Ralph has Mr. Miyagi. Who wins? That's an interesting question in the idea of this. No, don't look at me, make the face. How about this? Ralph Macchio versus Steve Vai in a fight. Who wins?
Well, he said Mr. Miyagi's in Ralph Macchio's corner.
Yeah.
So it's going to be Ralph.
I also think Steve Vai is a pacifist. I'm pretty sure he is. He's a vegetarian, I think. So I'm pretty sure Ralph Macchio wins. Somebody's asking again, Brandon, have we checked out the Gibson line? That's what we were just talking about. Yeah, we did. He's saying, the colors are out there. They are. Let's see. What's the difference between a Squier and American Strat with the same upgrades? Well, that's Ed McMuffin. If you're talking
that's
about...
That's a good question.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, you kind of have videos on that. Right?
Yeah, but what do you think?
I mean, there are differences, right? But if it feels right, plays right...
Yeah, I mean, at the core, a wood body is a wood body. Next, that's where... So to me, personally, everything is always going to be about how good the neck is. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, I can tell. Like, when you get cheap guitars and expensive guitars, you can feel the neck.
But if you pick the right Squier...
Yeah, if you pick the right Squier, you can find the right neck.
Rivals any American. So,
yeah, of course.
Strat.
Yeah, because... I mean, think about in the interesting aspect, when the stuff first came out, they didn't have cheap versions. Mm-hmm. So now we're the first group of guitar players that now have to argue what this, right? Mm-hmm. For everybody else, think of this: 30, 40 years ago, cheap stuff was made differently. It means different versions of guitars. Like if you couldn't afford a Strat, you got a Mustang.
Right.
That was an easy question. What's better, a Strat or Mustang? Right. And it's like, oh well,
those times have changed.
Yeah, those times have changed. Now it's how much. In fact, there's somebody that had a question. And this is an interesting one too. This one is Mark Love says, do you think guitar gear is overrated? ? I sound the same on a $500 guitar versus a $5,000 guitar. The magic is in your fingers. What do you think? I know you have a theory on that. So
forget about the magic in the fingers. I agree. There could be $500 gear, right? That sounds just as good as $5,000 gear.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
Yes.
Right? The components are going to be different. Markup's going to be different. But as far as tone, there's not one that's necessarily better.
Yeah, I agree. $500
right?
And it's the truth for me. The truth in what I think is the difference between $500 and $5,000 in sound quality is like this much. But sometimes, when you're trying to, kind of like I use this kind of analogy. It's kind of like think like race car guys. They'll do all this stuff to a car just to get a little bit more horsepower out of it. Mm-hmm. And at some point, I bet you, if you really think about when you build a race car like that, they'll spend a lot of money to get to one point, and then they spend even more money to get to that last point. That's how gear becomes. You spend a good amount of money to get to a point where it's good, and then you have to spend a lot more, even though the jump is very small.
But speed is measurable.
Yeah.
Tone isn't. So
Oh,
that opens that can of worms,
true.
right?
Yes.
Where I could say I don't like that rig that you have.
I guess, how about this for a thought on $500 versus $5,000 gear?
Mm-hmm.
Really what happens is everybody who makes good high-end gear has been copied, and the copy guys are good.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what it is. So if you take out of the equation thinking of it first, cheap gear is as good as high-end gear.
That's
Because the only thing expensive gear's got going for it is they thought of it first.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You can clone a Strat, but you can't take away the fact that Fender Leo designed the Strat.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But the knockoffs are as good. But so it's really about, do you just want to own the original?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I like that. I like that idea. We'll go with that as an answer.
I'll buy that.
Yeah. What do you think? Sean wants to know, what do you think of the pig nose amp, Crossroads style? I think the pig nose, I don't know if you've been crazy.
Those
yeah, the
little ones?
Yeah,
The
little
little
pig nose.
brown.
I've owned two, and they sound okay. Actually, okay, I lied. I bought one and I never used it, and then I got rid of it, and then I decided to have
what
it in
the
the
speaker did it have?
Yeah, it's like a 4-inch.
6-inch. Or...
4. It's
hard
all right.
to make that sound.
You know,
great.
actually, here's the deal. If you have one, it's fun because it's a Crossroads thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking to buy one for $100, they're $100 now. Do not buy one, right? The only
don't try
reason
to
to buy
gig with
one is because you want a prop from a cool movie or a cool time. But sound-wise, there are things 1,000 times better for $100 out there. There's no reason to buy one of those anymore. Let's see. Mimi Man, some of you guys have the weirdest names. Mimi Lord. That's it. This is as good as I got for trying. It's really cool that you're doing live stream now. Oh yeah, well, it'd be really cool if we can get the live stream to work.
3 hours later.
3 hours later. The idea is to do these, kind of FAQ question things on a subject, talk gear. Joe's with me today, right? Joe's my really good friend, and Joe knows as much about gear as I do, and maybe more in certain areas for sure, and right, and it's fun just to talk gear. So we're just talking gear, and then anything you guys come up with, and anything we come up with.
Rolling Cube, is that a good buy?
Where's it at? Where's that one? Roger says,
Harris.
Are the Rolling Cubes a good buy? Oh, tell them your story.
Yes. I think they're fantastic amps. All of the entire line of Rolling Cubes, even the Blues Cube, fantastic.
Yeah.
They're great. And for the price, right? About $300 for a 40-watt Rolling Cube. Hard to beat.
Dylan was the guy who asked the question last night when we were at Wings and Beer last night
right.
with a bunch of amp designers. And so this funny story, Dylan, you'll probably enjoy this. So I was having Wings and Beer. It's a typical Thursday night for us. We all go out, a bunch of friends, and we're all kind of in the industry and in the gear and stuff. And two of the guys was an amp designer, and one was a pedal designer. You asked that question about the orange drops, and I was going to answer it, and then I asked the table, and that's why the answer was pretty over the top and technical. Like I had a high-end amp guy and a pedal guy tell me.
And it could have got more technical.
You could have got more technical.
They were talking like...
I actually took their answers, streamlined it down, and sent it to you. So I'm glad the answer, Dylan, helped you out with his which way the orange drop should go. But yeah, it was cool. But like I said, it popped on the phone, and I happened to be there at the table, and I asked. Paintball Fan 200 says, what's a good cheap $200 electric guitar that you can buy? There's a lot of them, right? That's what I was just talking about the other day, remember? I was saying...
I think all the guitars that are $200,
yeah, are good
for what they are. They're fantastic.
Yeah.
The Jackson.
I always stick with this. For me personally, cheaper guitars are about lax QA. In other words, as a guitar gets less expensive, right, QA time gets less. So you have to be QA. So if you're going to buy a $200 guitar, you'll find a great one. Just be smart about it. You want to go somewhere where you can try a bunch of them and pick the best one, or be prepared to send a couple back when they come in the mail. The right one is the right one, right?
Mm-hmm. It leads back to the Squire, right? With some of the Squires have fantastic necks.
Yeah.
Some don't.
Okay, Regal 7 was already used. Okay, good to know. I love my battery-powered pig nose, but the Blackstar 3 is far more versatile. Oh, yeah, exactly. The Blackstar 3 until I try another amp that's like that. That's the best little battery powered amp out there.
For what, $60?
$60. You cannot beat it for $60. It kills. And then Attack of the Pacifist is saying he was talking about type of the tubes, not brands. So types, okay, so I know I said I don't really care. The truth is I jump back and forth. I sometimes get all British tubey and like 34s and 84s ELs, and then I go, oh no, I like 6V6, 6L6s. It depends on my mood. If I want that clean American tone or that heavy, like Tremonti kind of heavy, thick distortion tone, I want 6L6s or 6V6s. And then when I want that British classic sound, right? So I'll change back and forth. And if I was stuck with one or the other, I wouldn't care. But I do, because I own amps that have both. I tend to go back and forth. But I don't have a real preference. How about you? Do you have a?
You know what? I honestly don't even play loud enough so that the power tubes make a difference.
The Mark Love says, have you guys tried the Yamaha TR10? Heard it was a great practice amp. I tried it at the Guitar Center, and and you said you didn't dig it, right?
It was cool, but it was like $300.
Yeah, I was the same thing. I thought it was cool. I was the price I was stuck on. I was like, if it was it like $4? It's $3.99.
It was a lot, and the speakers must have been what, 2-inch little speakers. They made it sound good for what it was.
Yeah. $200 I would have bought one that day.
Yeah, it seemed to be a little bit pricey.
So,
but they were cool.
The next question is 2B D Kid, Blackstar HT40 combo or Marshall DSL40 combo C. My opinion, Marshall DSL40 over the Blackstar HT40.
I like Marshalls as well.
Yeah, me too. First of all, I'll tell you I like Blackstar. I own Blackstar. My problem with the HT40 is not in its quality of sound. It's the feature set. One tone control for the clean channel is not as cool as having a 3-band EQ. I wish it had more EQ control. So pedals sound better when you can EQ them. Let's see. Next one is my Ibanez SA360QM. So that's the Sabre quilted maple. Neck relief is the opposite way around. Would it be worth getting a new neck or a new guitar? The neck relief is the opposite way around. So in other words, your neck's jacked. Now that's Willow Wilson. Was that confirmed by a quality technician that said your neck is? I mean, that's really what you want to do. You don't need to pay a technician to look at a neck.
So it has a back bow?
Yeah, I think that's what he's trying to say. But more importantly, you need somebody who knows necks to look at it and
make
tell
sure
you
the truss rod isn't jacked up.
And then try to find. So here's a question. That question for me is confirm that, and then once you decide the neck's bad, on a 360, I would imagine SA360 goes for $400 or $500 used, something like that, or maybe less. I don't know what they're going for at this moment, but you know it's not going to be worth putting a neck on it. So, John McCart says, are Mesa Boogie amps sensitive to bad power supply popping and crackling? I would say yeah, because some Mesa Boogies will shut off if they don't get enough power. Yeah, it's cool because you don't blow an expensive amp. But yeah, I would imagine Mesa Boogies must be sensitive to that because it's interesting that they have that feature. Like the Mark V Mini right here, it will shut off if you don't give it enough voltage. So if you're at a club and they run the blender, it'll turn off and you have to reset it. So cool feature unless you're playing. There's definitely a dollar point of diminishing returns. That's what Daryl's saying. Absolutely, right?
For everything.
And a comfort zone. I always tell everybody, well, I used to believe, and this is a retail side of my head, I used to believe that people spent their means. In other words, if you were rich, you spent a lot of money on stuff, and if you're not so rich, you spent less, because that's how you just spent. It had nothing to do with anything else. And I've kind of reformed my theory on that to really you spend your comfort level. It doesn't matter how much money you make. It's really your comfort. So even if you make good money and you can afford a guitar that's maybe pricier, if you're not comfortable with that guitar, right, you can't be afraid to nick your guitar because it's going to ruin your life, right? We just talked about that last night, right?
We did.
Yeah, you're a PRS, right? You're afraid to play it sometimes. And luckily for me, I nicked my green one.
You got it out of the way.
I got it out of the way.
So you can play it all the time now.
In fact, so you know, if you were watching my videos for any time, you'll know I had two PRSs, this really beautiful like brown one and that green one. And I played the brown one all the time, and I was afraid to play the green one because it's so pretty. And then I nicked it. And as soon as I nicked it, I got rid of the brown one because I was playing it all the time now. So, let's see. Let's scroll down. I know I'm missing some. Trust me. I'll try to scoop some back towards the end. It's just a lot. Okay. What is a good amp for intermediate player? I'm pretty sure it's Michelle ATL. What is a good amp for an intermediate player? I'd have to know if you need practice or for right? I mean, if you're an intermediate player, you want to, and if you're trying to play in a band, that's one kind of amp. You're playing at the house, it's one kind of amp.
Style of
yeah,
music.
if you could send that question again, but clarify what you need the amp for. Think about it. We definitely have, we have different philosophies about what we need for ourselves. He likes different amps than I do, and we generally like the same stuff. But we do agree on certain things. Gear is tools, and you need the right tool for the job, right? Mm-hmm. So we need to know what you're using the amp for. That'll tell us. Can you do more acoustic guitar videos? Absolutely. Yeah, I have some acoustics. Actually, I'm going to be doing some very, very. I don't even over here. I can't even swing it over. Okay. Yes, the answer is yes. There's acoustic reviews coming, bass and acoustic on there. That all next week. Thoughts on upscale gig bags? Mono, groove gear, reunion blues. Don't laugh. He's laughing. He's laughing. Yes. And there's another one too. What's it? Anyways, it doesn't matter. Mono sent me a bag. I did a video, some of you guys know, and I really like it. My thoughts on those bags are super easy. They are very good quality. It's just hard to justify the pricing, right? It really is. But again, back to if you believe the philosophy of the tools and job, if you are on a bicycle and you care about your guitar, those bags pay for themselves.
I think they do. My thought has always been, if you want to protect your guitar that much, get a hard shell case.
Yeah, but if you're in a bicycle, you can't.
Okay. Put straps on it. No.
Yeah,
I guess you're right.
So again, it's you got to have. My only issue with the mono bags, very good stuff, and all those bags, very good stuff, no question about that. But you can get polyfoam cases on things that are just as good for a little less, although they're not as comfortable. But so you know, I don't want to be a hypocrite. I use that mono bag pretty much exclusively now because it's so good. In fact, I finally told myself last week I'm going to order 2 more because I was going to do it and I talked myself out of it. The question is, do you guys play live? Not anymore for me. Not so much. I do jams with friends sometimes. You do that too as well, right? Mm-hmm.
That's about it.
That's about it as well. Okay, so Douglas wants to know, no info on the new... Oh, you know what? I'm going to need a charger in a second. So no new info on my battery. Hold on, guys. I'm going to need power in about 1 second.
If you tell me where it is.
Yeah, actually, hold on 1 second. Give us 1 second. We're taking an intermission because I need power. I didn't know my phone's dying. You can tell them a story. Okay, I'm back. Okay, we're back, and I got power. My phone is literally dying as we speak. Hold on 1 second. Okay, maybe I don't have power. Here we go. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that, guys, but literally phone was dying. Okay, so how do I go back to live? Let me upload this back again. What are we talking about? Live. You jams, right? You do jams?
The occasional jam. It's about it these days.
Yeah, it's about it for me too. I don't have time. Have you ever tried the Boss ME80 multi-effects board?
I don't know.
I have.
I've tried all the GTs.
Yeah, the Emmys are like the GTs, but they are smaller and they have knobs for everything.
Okay.
So there's like Emmy 70, Emmy 80, Emmy 25, Emmy 50.
Oh, they're
I
at
own
the
the Emmy
shop.
50.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. The Emmy 50 was blue. I've tried them all, like them all. Personally, I don't tell a whole lot of difference between them and actual Boss pedals. So to me, it's kind of like a score.
good.
You get all the Boss pedals in one box. So I think if I was going to gig more, I'd probably just grab one of those, stick it in front of a Hot Rod Deluxe. That'd be great. So 2B2Kid says, what's the difference between overdrive and distortion? So, got any thoughts?
I'm sure there's a technical thing.
Yeah, but
I'm sure of it. But my thought, overdrive is not as extreme. Is that a good word?
Right.
As distortion. I think of overdrive as an amp, right? Clean amp cranked. That'd be overdrive. Distortion would be your Metallica and your just over the top gain. Any metal, right? That's your distortion. But overdrive would be your blues, your just overdriven amp.
It used to be, like I said, technically there used to be a difference between overdrive and distortion, and there still technically is when it's in its true form. But now everybody kind of uses those terms loosely. So overdrive just means low distortion to me now.
Right.
Except for unless you get the 5150 pedal, it's called overdrive, and that's what I mean. It's going to be confused because they'll say overdrive when it's distortion. They'll say distortion when it's overdrive. So I don't tend to look anymore and care anymore. I just use my ears. Usually if I see somebody say overdrive, I really think they are trying to imply that it's a lower gain blues rock pedal and distortion is a high gain pedal. Says somebody was asking about the Hughes and Kittner. Where was it at? Have you tried the Hughes? Any thoughts on the Hughes and Kittner 2 Meister Deluxe 20 for classic rock, blues, 80s rock, light jazz? I have tried the 2 Meister. Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not for me, but for those genres of music, I'd say it would work for sure.
My only experience with them is the same thing. It works for all that. My only personal experience with 2 Meister amps from Hughes and Kittner, they don't love strats. They're kind of on the bright side. They're chimey. And with a Les Paul, it's just like full and rich and great. And on a Strat, it got a little spanky and sparkly for me. So Will clarified. He said he went to a certified luthier, and he said the low E string has a little relief compared to the high E string. He said he could sand it to quick fix or get a new neck. Okay, so so what he's telling you, obviously we know, is he's saying he could jerry rig it or fix it, but it won't be a true fix, right? He's just going to make it. So, and he said he could do a new neck. Well, you could get a new neck. I mean, Willow, you just go on eBay, type in your guitar, and buy a neck from somebody and just put it on. A neck, if a neck's right, it should just bolt on, right? So, then in that case, I would do that. I would buy a new neck, and unless you don't use that guitar and you're not sentimentally attached to it, maybe do the fix. But I always tell people, you got to watch how you put money into instruments, because if you don't think you're gonna have that guitar in a year, every penny is a bad investment from now on. Okay, Mark's saying, have you tried any of the vintage reissued guitars? But I don't know clarification on that. You mean like Fender? So, let's see. What do you think of the Seymour Duncan Saturday Night Special pickups? I've never tried that.
I haven't either.
I've never tried that.
Sounds cool.
Yeah. I wonder if it's a Kiss reference. No, right? No, or well, who else would
you
that
don't
be?
only play them on Saturdays.
Yeah, you can
I
only...
think that's what.
What's the band that did the song Saturday Night Special? I don't know why I can't think of the band. It's from the 70s.
Lynyrd Skynyrd?
It might be Lynyrd Skynyrd. If you know the answer, put it in the comments. Okay. Somebody said the first thing they do is ding their guitars so they don't have that problem.
Smart.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna scroll ahead. What do we got? We got somebody asked. Preston's asking about the opinion on the 2016 SG. I like SGs. I've been in conflict about getting one soon. You were saying
the 2016s. I don't know how they're different than the other years. But I like SGs. I like the necks. I'm a Gibson guy to a certain extent, so SGs are cool.
And Brian Isaac saying, what's the best cheap Telecaster and amp for classic country? Cheap is a tough term, right? Because everybody's got a different version of cheap. For me, first preference would be Mexican Telecaster through Hot Rod Deluxe or a Blues Deluxe, and maybe even a PV, Classic 30 or something like that. If that's a little on the higher end price range, then I would go next to the vintage reissue Squire Tellies. But don't forget used Mexican Tellies, because you can find those in the 3 range. Right? That stuff's not bad. If also Schecter makes some really cool Telecaster type guitars that are fantastic for the price. So you can't hate that at all. What are your thoughts on the Orange Crush amps? You've had a couple? No?
No. I've never owned any, but I've played a few at Sam Ash, and I think they're pretty cool.
I only had the what's the tiny one? The Micro Terror?
Right. So the Crush amps, I think, are the cheaper ones.
Oh,
that have
like
all
the solid
the
state.
Yeah, they have the solid state.
Oh yeah. I
and
played
all
one
that.
of those. I thought it was okay. Yeah. In fact, at the Sam Ash, right? I was playing through. So you know what? Okay, so if that's the amp, that was the amp I was playing through. At the Sam Ash, here's my opinion. I liked the way it looked, and I wanted it, but I thought the Black Star sounded better. Remember, I thought the Black Star sounded
right for the small ones.
For the small
they
ones.
have, I think they have 100-watt
ones?
Crush. Oh yeah, they have all different sizes, wattage.
Somebody's asking about the new Yamaha RevStar series. I have not, other than seeing a Chapman video, I think, on it. I haven't seen anything about it, so I don't know. It is Leonard Skinnard. You called it. Somebody's saying Skinnard, Leonard Skinnard. They is the band that sings Saturday Night Special. See?
There you go. Any shenanigans lately?
So somebody's like, I can't. Somebody didn't like it when I said Kiss. Well, they didn't. You know what I mean. Okay, what is the pick on the most versatile guitar for $100,000? So most versatile guitar under $1,000.
PRS.
Really? PRS? Under $1,000? So that would be like the SE.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's
versatile,
good.
right?
I'm gonna say best versatile guitar for me under $1,000. HSS American Special Strat, or any of those satin finish Gibson Les Pauls.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, Roger's like, any shenanigans lately? Kinda. I'm getting rid of 2 Strats and getting another one. What else did I do lately? Other than that, I think I've been behave. Getting rid of some pedals. Actually, I'm trying to think about what I've been getting. I've been being have. You've definitely been being have.
Yes, I'm being.
You're
being good.
You're gonna get a Blues Cube, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Eventually.
so that's not really shenanigans,
No.
but something. Yeah, I've been being have. I'm right. Have I done anything wacky?
Supro?
Oh, I got Supros. Yeah, those are shenanigans. What was that? They're behind me. Supros. Yeah, there's another one. That's the Comet, and then I have the Saturn. Somebody's asking. Okay, so Paul's asking about Paul Watson. Can you review the new Boss Katana range, please? Any thoughts on them? We were just talking about that last night. Definitely trying to get a hold of Katana right now. I'm curious. I think you're curious too. Right? Seems like really cool stuff for cheap. I mean, you can't. MJ Toso says your videos kick ass. Just want to let you know. Thank you. You know what? Thanks. That's awesome. That feels good. Marwan. And if I jack up names, I'm sorry, but they're a little tricky. Marwan's like Japan Vintage, the JV line of Stratocaster thoughts. Japanese Strats are good. Do you have one still or no?
No, I just have the Performer.
Is that the thing last night?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that
made in Japan.
You love that Japanese.
I do.
Yeah, that. Google that. What is it called again?
Fender Performer.
Google Fender Performer.
Made in the mid '80s.
Yeah, he has one. It's like a BC Rich and a Fender had a baby.
Yeah, they're cool.
Yeah. So Toad Snus Sorry, Toad's Nuss. Toad's Nuss says, how about Chapman for versatility? I only played the one Chapman at the NAMM show, or a couple of Chapmans, I'm sure. I played them at the NAMM show, so it was really hard to get a sense of them. I've been thinking about all year about buying one. Just not sure. To me, I don't know. So I don't know. But I would imagine my experience with them at the NAMM show was they were like Schecters. Good quality, made in Korea. So I can't imagine there's any downside to it. Oh, you know what? Waduso Guitars did a review of one. It was probably the best review I've seen of him. He really, really kind of attacked it. I don't know if later if you're watching this later, I'll put the link for Waduso. But Waduso Guitars, he did a really cool a review of it. In fact, it was my favorite review of any of the Chapman stuff. Let's see. Do MIM Deluxe player strats have American-made gold hardware, or is it separate than non-American-made hardware for the MIMs? I'm pretty sure they do not use American gold hardware. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it's all Mexican-made hardware. Because think of this, most of the American stuff doesn't have American hardware anymore. So, I mean, it does some, but not much. Nick 37213 said, can you shout me out, please? Yes, Nick 37213. How's it going? That was easy. Mark, love line 6, James Taylor Varax. Oh, somebody's responding to me. So, yeah, James Taylor Varax are great. Let's go to the next couples. All right. Hey, Phil, looking forward to the Jazz Chorus Cube Roland is coming out with. Yeah. Oh, that's Nathan Sanjay.
Yep. Yeah, and
yeah, you saw it?
He's texting me, hey, Nathan.
Yeah, hey, Nathan. How's Maryland? Is it colder yet?
He's watching us from his Xbox.
Yes.
Just so you know, he texted me.
Is it what he says he's watching from Xbox? Yeah. Nathan, you mean the Cube? Because now there's 3. There's the Jazz Chorus 40, and now a Jazz Chorus like 22.
Yeah, it's small and looks really cool.
Looks really cool.
I'd love to try one.
Yeah, so I'm curious, right? Especially I'm curious because the whole point of those amps, like the Jazz 120, is they stay clean loud.
Yep.
So what will those small amps do? Will they break up? That's right. I'm curious about that. Yeah, I want to check that out for sure. Any thoughts on the new PRS standards? You mean like the S2 standards, right? No, you're talking about the new CE standards. I think that's right. Haven't tried one yet, but I mean PRS doesn't make bad stuff. That's just one thing you can trust is actually I think for me personally, Schecter and Paul Reed Smith never makes bad stuff. Very hard to find something that's a bad idea. If it's not your cup of tea, I understand, but quality-wise, there's no issues. Sean says, "Hey Phil, what have you heard about the new Fender Professional? When are they delivering?" Okay, I'll tell you some stuff, and then some stuff I will get killed, so I won't tell you. The stuff I can tell you is this: they're shipping American Professional guitars to dealers on December 1st of this year to any dealer who put in orders now. Those orders that they put in will be fulfilled, and then that's it until next year when they will have 18,000 available of all the models to ship to dealers. So they'll be out. You'll see them in dealers basically by the 7th. The official notice goes the 7th of December. I had this big meeting with them. That's why I said certain. I've already done the video reviews on them. So I actually will have the video reviews on December 7th, or if it gets leaked before that, it will be before that. But they asked me not to release the videos until the 7th of December. So I already reviewed the Strats and Tellys. I did not review the Jazz Master and Jaguar, although they're coming out and they have new colors. Basically, there's a small bump in price. They're going up $100, right? So they're going to take them from $12.99 to $13.99, and they're adding a lot of new colors. And they're adding a couple new feature sets. And really, it's just the American Standard with some really smart changes. It's not going to blow you away with like, wow, why didn't they think of this 20 years ago thing? It's just like, yeah, these changes make sense. Let's go, right? They're all improvements. Nothing I saw took away from anything. No one's going to be missing anything on the guitars. Just kind of cool stuff. But everybody will know in December. And I'm sure it'll get leaked before that. So, okay, next one. Let's see. What is your opinion on the Fender Pro Junior for country and Squier Classic Vibe 50s Telecaster for country sound? Good amps. The Pro Junior, though, a lot of harmonica players like it. You know what I'm talking about? It's like tuna.
Yep.
And it breaks up. Blues Junior, me preference, I like Blues Junior over Pro Junior. Generally speaking, it should only be $100 difference in price. Something to think about. Both are good, but I prefer Blues Junior over Pro Junior. Roger Harris said, I always lusted over a Fender Showmaster. That's what I was thinking of last night.
Oh, is that the one?
Fender Showmaster. I was trying to explain to him what I was talking about. The Fender Showmaster is a Strat that has a set neck. It's mahogany neck, mahogany body. They're made in Korea. And they had American versions, too. And great guitars. I don't know why they got rid of them and didn't bring them back. Always lusted over the Fender Showmaster and the Ibanez Maxis. Yeah, those are both really cool guitars. What is the best Squire Strat of all time? I don't know.
The one Seth bought.
Yeah, the one Seth bought. We have a friend Seth who got a Squire Bullet, and it's the best playing Strat.
The gods were aligned when that thing was built.
Yeah. So I like. Funny enough, I like Squire Bullets over Infinities, and the reason is I like the way the necks feel over the Infinities. But so I tend to buy Bullets. I know I own one. It's in the hallway, but I might own two. They're cheap and they're good, and you can fix them up really fast and make them into something cool. In fact, I always tell everybody, if you want to learn about guitar, get a Bullet and just start messing with it. Better than the kits, because you can get Fender parts anywhere. Let's see. That's another one. I am looking for a second guitar. My budget is between $500 to $1,000. I really like Tellys. What should I get? A Telly. Mm-hmm. Right? You already answered your own question.
Yep.
$500 to $1,000. You were looking at Mexican Telly, American Special Telly, or now American Standard Telly or Professional Telly.
Used Telly.
Yep, used Tellys. American Standards are, you said 1,000. They're at 11 right now. But Specials are 1,000, and they're some of my favorite. Jumbo Frets. I like everything about those Tellys. Mm-hmm. Nathan's saying CE standards play awesome and they're crazy light. I got moved to CE and S2 this week. You got moved to SE. That means more guitars to buff. Nathan works at PRS. He works on the guitars there. He buffs the guitars and does this stuff. So if you get a guitar and it doesn't look absolutely right, you call Paul Reed Smith and you say, Nathan jacked up my guitar.
But if you really like it,
you call him up and say, Nathan needs a raise. Right?
There you go.
That's what you do for Nathan. So shout out for Nathan. Take care of Nathan. He works really hard. He will tell you it's a hard job. Mm-hmm. He makes those guitars shine. Jam Cave Studio says, ever wrapped your strings over the Les Paul bridge? Is there a difference in sustain and tone? You ever done that over the top?
No.
I've done it many times for customers. They ask for it. I don't like how it chews the top of the chrome off. I guess I'm shallow that way. Yes, it does change the way the guitar feels, right? It doesn't change tone. It doesn't change anything other than the way when you bend notes. And that's because the break angle changes, right? So in other words, when you have a bridge, I'm trying to think of my camera. When you have a bridge like here, let's say the bridge, the secondary part, as you raise and lower it, you'll change how the string will feel when you bend it. And so wrapping over the top does that as well. I don't think you need to wrap them over top. I think you can just raise the back tail piece of the bridge.
If you want it a little loose.
Yeah, if you want it a little loose. But what I do tell everybody is this. Some people will tell you that whatever I just said is bogus. What I tell people is, don't listen to anybody. Do it.
Try it.
Yeah, just do it.
Seriously.
Yeah, what you decide is what matters, right? I mean, they... okay, here's one. Dylan says, hey, Phil and Joe, what do you think about the EVH Wolfgang pick? EVH Wolfgang pick. I'm confused about the last one. EVH Wolfgang pick. Clarify, Dylan, because I'm not sure what that means. What do you think of the EVH? Okay. Pickup. Okay, what do you think of the pickup? It's an amazing pickup.
In fact, all EVH stuff, and I know it's going to kind of sound a little cheesy, like, oh, whatever, but generally speaking, he's got a great ear.
Yeah, it's
good. And
good.
All EVH stuff sounds fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's for everybody, but
no, it doesn't mean
the tone is there.
Yes. I agree. It's not for everybody, but yeah, there's no bad stuff. I like his gear way more than I've ever liked,
Uh-oh. Don't say it.
Don't say it. Is it? No, he's a great guitar player, but I'm
Edit
more
that
addicted
out.
to his gear. I just like his ear, right? He's a great guitar player, but he's an amazing product developer.
The watches are going down.
Oh no, they're jumping off. They're like, I hate you guys. How many lefties are they making in the new Pro line? And that's from Jack. Jack, they're making the same as they did before. They're not making Jazzmaster and Jaguars. They're making the Tellys and the Strats and lefties. and they're doing most of the colors. So, but I didn't see the Jazzmaster Jaguars and lefties. That's why I'm saying that. I could have missed it when I was looking through all the information. But so if you like strats and tellies, you're good to go. Okay, the crowbar. I'm just gonna keep it at that. The crowbar says, "How come the heavy octave built-in effects on the rolling cube amps are better at tracking than most octave pedals I've tried?" I don't know. But you know what? I've experienced that. Have you ever experienced where like, to me, the Super Champ X2 amps, the reverb on that sounds better than what I can buy in a pedal. Right? Okay. And you know what else was like that? The Bogner Alchemist amps. Mm-hmm. Those reverbs and delays sounded better than what I could buy in pedals. So I've experienced that before, where certain things just sound better, and it doesn't make any sense, because you're like, if you can put it inside a package, why can't you isolate it outside the package? Mm-hmm. And who knows? There could be other stuff going on in there. Riley wants to know, what's your opinion on the JHS Andy Timmons pedal? I have not bought one yet. Have you tried one?
I have not.
I'm going to buy one. I said that on Facebook a couple weeks ago. I got that $10. Did you see it?
That's right.
I got the
Don't you have to spend it soon?
Yeah, I got to spend it.
When does it expire?
November 22nd.
All right.
So I got to drive to the other side of town to the Sam Ash and use my $10 coupon, or my gift certificate. They give you $10. They gave me when we did the video. The guy said at the end, remember, he's like, "Oh, you're gonna get a $10 thing in the mail." And I'm like, "Oh, cool." So I got it, and I should probably use it. So I'll get the Andy Timmons and we'll do a review of it. Ever play anything from the Fender Lead series? I haven't. What's that?
I think that's from the 80s.
Oh, is that from the 80s?
Yes. They look like weird Strats, but not as cool as the Performer.
Would that be considered like the heavy metal Strat?
Yeah, I think they were a little smaller. I think the body was a little smaller and a little goofier looking.
Oh, all right.
I don't have much experience with them, though.
I've worked on a lot of heavy metal Strats. My opinions are, they're very Charvel-esque to me. They kind of have that high performance metal kind of vibe.
It makes sense why they came out with them, right?
Yeah. Okay, here's another one. Someone wants to know if the Seymour Duncan Pegasus and Sentient are any good. Absolutely. I've installed a lot of those. They're good. Have you heard them? Mm-hmm. I like them. All right, here's a good one. Ready? Lessons versus self-teaching. Books, vids, ? What you got?
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
I recommend lessons.
Me too.
At least at some points, right? So you can start off with lessons for maybe a month or two. Let that sink in. Maybe go back, take some more lessons for a little bit. As long as they're catered to what you want to learn. Yeah. The problem with YouTube and just these scattered lessons all over the place is that sometimes they're a little disjointed. And if you don't have somebody teaching you, sometimes you don't know what you need to know, right?
Right.
So I really recommend lessons for sure.
I kind of agree. I agree, of course, right? But here's something I always kind of think about this way, okay, right? Everybody always looks for like a pass-fail system, like, hey, self-teach or go to lessons. I always say both, right? So teach yourself, right?
That's exactly
I know you're going
there.
there. Like, teach yourself and lessons. But here's what I will tell you. When somebody says to me, I've never went to any lessons and I can play great, and I go, yeah, of course you can. And I bet you took longer to do it than if somebody was teaching you. Because that's what teaching you should do. You should be improving faster because somebody's giving you the answers or teaching you the tricks or giving you help, right? So to me, if you're going to ask me what's the best way to learn, I'll say, okay, private lessons. Then maybe under that is like classes. And then under classes would be interactive computer instruction, then videos, then books, and then just doing it by ear, trying to figure it out. And none of those are bad. But incrementally, they'll get you faster to the same point. So it really becomes, to me personally, sometimes I tell people, it becomes a monetary thing. If you have the money for lessons and you're going to do books, you're really wasting your time. You should get the lessons. You can afford it. If you're not in the situation to buy lessons, well, don't worry. You just have to put more time into it.
Right.
But you'll get there, right? And I always say this. Don't ever think of lessons as lessons only or not lessons. Think of it as tutoring. You can always find some good teacher out there who will help you brush up or help a problem. Whenever you're stuck, don't stop learning when you're teaching yourself. Just find somebody to tutor you through it. So again, always just keep learning, right? So Stan is saying 2016 versus 2017 Gibson Les Paul Tribute, which is better? I haven't put my hands on the 17, so I don't know yet. Yeah, I don't know which one's going to be better. And let's see. Okay, so I'm just going to say it. Anne's Command is saying, do you have an opinion on ESP guitars? Indonesia, I might buy used Alexei Leho signature guitar. So you're saying ESP, obviously when you're saying Indonesia, you mean like the LTD ESP guitars. ESP LT guitars, to me, like Schecter guitars, very good, but they have more hit or miss issues.
I like them.
Yeah, I like them. To be
honest, I do.
Like 9 out of 10 good, where I think Schecter's like 10 out of 10 good for flaws and issues. LTD's 9 out of 10, but 9 out of 10 is a great percentage to be right. In fact, I sometimes tell people those their Eclipse Les Pauls and their Viper SG styles are just fantastic. Cool. Yeah. Let's see. Gibson Rose saying better to wrap the strings over than raise the bridge up. I think he means the tailpiece. Raise the tailpiece up. It depends on the guitar. The issue is if you raise the tailpiece too high, you can bend the post.
And again, try it.
Again, you have to experiment a little bit. It's not the most expensive thing in the world. It won't do any damage. Let's see. Oh, somebody suggesting a video. Roger's saying, hey, how about 5 easy cheap mods that you can do on your Strat? That's going to be a fun one. We could do that. Okay, here's one. Jimbo saying, Phillip and Joe, should I keep the strings under tension when I store my guitars?
Store them. How long have we stored them for?
Yeah. My experience is that you're always going to find some negative problem. So when you store guitars and you put no tension on them, you're taking issues. When you store guitars and you have tension on them, you have potential issues. Sure. Really what it is storing the guitars, all you're trying to do is you can put them in tension, they should be fine. I mean, they hang with tension all the time. Put them in the cases, or the gig bags in storage. Just try to keep the climate correct. Or most importantly, when I say that, I mean keep consistent, right? But, you know, let's see. What is better for pop and rock, Strat or Les Paul? Telly or Les Paul? Strat, Telly or Les Paul? What do you think? What do you like?
I'm like I said, I'm a Gibson guy, a Les Paul guy. That's what I'm using. Yeah. But I don't think there's a right answer. To be completely honest.
He's a Les Paul guy, and I'm a Strat guy.
We fight all the time.
And we fight all the time. The answer, really, sadly enough, is all three of those guitars are all pop rock music, right? And so I mean, and in order, they're probably Strats, then Les Pauls, and Tellys.
I'd say probably Strat.
Yeah,
would be number one.
But all of them are good. You know, just try the one that you love. Just find something you love. It's such an easy thing to do, right? You just play it, and once you love it, you grab it and you go. Oh, okay. Here's a good one, man. Bikered Hill. Just wondering if you can take the screws out of a bolt-on neck and glue it in the neck pocket. Would like to try it. Okay, I'm going to tell you this answer very specifically. The answer is you can do that. People do it actually more often than you think. They pull the screws out and then they put wooden dowels and they glue them in, and then they glue it into the pocket. It can be done as long as you do it right. You can do a little bit of research online, find exactly what dowels to use, what glues to use. If you want to do it, you should do it. I've never done it to my guitars. I don't really have a preference.
Now, what would be the point of that?
Well, the point is interesting. It's really this back to a debate. The point is that a set neck guitar somehow transfers more vibration than a bolted on guitar. But kind of like the Tonewood debate, it's really an endless debate
kind of where I was going.
Doom. Yeah, you'll never be able to figure it out.
I don't think that you'll hear an audible difference once you do that. So if you're going to spend money and time,
there's videos of Paul Reed Smith saying he can't hear a difference between a bolt-on and set neck. So I don't know. I don't know. So, but
It's
There
possible.
You go. Yeah, the good thing is you can do it and then tell
Right.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, do it and say. Try to record it before and after. Panhandle. Oh, hey, it's Michael. He's saying, how about a Supro amp? Have you talked about it yet? I haven't talked about it. I have two. I have the Comet and the Saturn here. I still haven't done reviews, but it's easy. I love them, so there's no question about them. I think the Supro stuff is fantastic. God, one of the best accolades you could ever get. One of our friends who builds really high-end custom amps was playing one last night, and he had a face of terror and joy. Mm-hmm. He was loving the amp, but it was really right. He had that like, wow, for a fraction of what I build for. Mm-hmm. This was a fantastic amp. So it was good. The Roger Harris. Who is your favorite unknown guitarist? Mine would be Steve Rothery of Merrill. I'm not saying this right. Maryland. M-I-R.
Marillion.
Is that it?
Okay, probably.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, Marillion. So Steve Rothery of Marillion. That's his favorite unknown guitarist. Who's your favorite unknown guitarist? I have one. So
you do?
Yeah, of course.
Who, Zaza?
No, Zaza's unknown, but you know who's really... It's Monty Montgomery. I say it all the time. Nobody knows who that guy is, and the first time you hear him, you're just going to be like, wow.
Yeah, I don't know if I have one.
Yours could be Neil Zaza.
Okay, that'll be mine.
The
Although I stole it from you.
Yeah, MB215. You know, there's a lot of them. Actually, I want to stay on this for a second. Unknown guitar players. Here's a trick about unknown guitar players with a little Google searching and how you can find some really amazing players. Look for amazing players like Steve Vai and Joe Satriani and Yngwie Malmsteen and that's just then the metal realm, but you can do it. Brad Paisley, right? You just keep, and then Google who are the guys standing on their stages with those, and those are unknown amazing guitar players. Dave Weiner, right? Mm-hmm. Pete Thorne, Neil Zaza, right? Those guys just. Who's the guy from? Oh, I was just talking about him. Remember I told you I just discovered the band. It was from the 80s. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh.
Romeo.
Oh, Michael Romeo. But I guess we would have to define unknown, right? I mean...
Well, he's unknown. I just discovered Michael Romeo, so...
Yeah.
You know, it's somebody's always unknown to somebody. Right?
Agreed.
How about unknown as never been on the cover of a Guitar World magazine or in the mainstay of that, right? So, I mean, you know... So, because at some point, everybody got a Guitar World magazine cover, right? Vito Bratta... You know, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, think of this. Kip Winger was on the cover. I mean, for a while in that time frame, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, I know those are mostly rock metal guys, but still, it was done. So, Mike 701 says, "Hey Phil, there are some new Wampa new Wampa pedals out there. Need a demo." Mike 701. We'll see what happens. Brian Wampler emailed me and asked me if I was interested in if he would send me one, you know, to check it out, and then I'll send it back. I told him I was very interested, very excited, very interested, and also very honored that he would even contact me. That was really cool. And of course, a little bit of dread, and the dread is that I don't want to fall in love with them because then I have to buy them. But but that's all right, you know, right? Nothing wrong with, you know, getting more gear, I guess. Let's see. All right, ready? This is Marwin is asking. You're going on an island. These are fun. I like these scenario questions. You're going on an island, Tom Hanks Castaway style. There is electrical output. You can only take one guitar and one amp. Which do you choose? What's your guitar and amp?
You know what? I know what the right answer should be for me.
Well, yeah,
it should be a Pure Custom 24, but I'm going to go with the Les Paul.
Really? Over the Schecter?
Yes, over the Schecter.
Okay, so Les Paul. What's the amp?
How about a George Benson Fender?
Oh, yeah, George Benson. Okay.
Why not?
So for me, it would be my Strat, Humbucker Strat, or this Mira right here. Oh, the camera's flipped upside down. No, okay, so the Mira or my Strat, probably my Strat, and probably the Mark V, just Mark V Mini in a cabinet, if I get a cabinet. And then if not, it would be like one of these Supros, probably an overdrive pedal.
He didn't say overdrive pedal, did he?
I know he didn't, but
he cheated.
I did cheat. I smuggled onto the island an undisclosed distortion box.
That's all right.
Yeah. It says, "Oh, Jake saying, of course, of course, why must Fender hurt me? I just want a Jaguar. That's not a Kurt signature." Well, yeah, I know. Like I said, I didn't see them, so hopefully I'm wrong. But I didn't see them when I was looking at all the paperwork. Is $2,500 a good budget for a pedal board? Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? Yeah. Although I always caution everybody of taking a lump sum and buying everything at once.
Don't do
You'll
that.
buy a lot of mistakes in that way. Good collections are piece by piece.
Mm-hmm. Over time.
It's right. If you're in a rush, then you buy yourself a multi-processor. You buy a one-stop shop small thing to hold you over and then replace each piece out one way. But if I was you, I would never take $2,500. Me personally, I would never take $2,500 down to the local music store and then just buy a rig and walk out the door. You'll probably end up making buying some stuff that's going to have to be replaced because you can't figure everything out that fast. So if that's what it's worth, Riley, think about that. Okay, here's one. It says, how can I find out the year of a Black Beauty I just got yesterday? I've had no luck finding what year it is, a serial number, and then it has the serial number. Thanks. But there's
sites out there that'll tell you how to
devoted.
date.
Gibson has
Google dating Gibson.
Yeah,
you'll get some weird sites,
but
you will get some.
Yeah, legit. And if all else fails, you can actually call Gibson. They'll tell you.
Yeah. There's actually very comprehensive sites on dating your Les Paul.
Yes. All right, ready? Max wants to know, where do we stand on digital modelers such as the AX8 and the Helix, etc., right? Do you think we are there now? That was last night's discussion. Was you guys were obviously
I think we're there.
See, we disagree. We disagreed last night too. So when I say disagree, it was the whole table against me.
Was it?
Yeah, it was.
You know what it was.
Whole table against me.
I swear you can't hear a difference as far as distortion goes on an album, but Phil can.
I thought about it afterwards, right? I didn't think about it. So Joe and the guys believe that the Axe Effects and the Helix and whatever the Wamplers, they're on. You can't hear them on albums anymore, and they're great. And my issue is not with them per se that they're not good. Is that it's. I don't know how to explain it. I wish right? It's like I said, I like them. I'm for them. I'm just not going to buy one. It's just not going to happen for me. And and that's what I was discussing last night.
Now we were talking about distortion last night.
Yeah.
I really don't think. I mean, you can hear a difference in distortion, and that's possible. But
right.
I don't think it'd be possible to hear on an album your time-based effects, whether that's digital, analog.
No way. Yeah.
Right. I just don't think it's possible.
Yeah.
So I think we're there.
Yeah.
As far as we can agree with that, your time-based effects and
yeah, and it's not that they sound bad. It's not that I say when I hear them.
No.
I don't know. It's like I don't know. I still prefer raw amps so far, but let's see. Okay, ready? This guy's funny. And his name's long. Rigel7 was already used. Uncle Phil, Cousin Joe. Best solid wood acoustic guitar, OEM or triple aught for under $1,000. US dollars. What's the
under 1,000?
Yeah. Well, you have one. What's your?
I have one of the old Martin. What is the 01XC or some weird? But when they were made in the United States, not that matters.
Right.
And I like it. See, I really like Martins, but it's more of the neck profile than the sound.
Yeah.
I just think they play just fantastic, like versus a Taylor or a Fender or anything really. I just think the Martin necks are just super special. But again, it's personal preference.
My favorite guitar for $1,000 is the Breedlove. I like the Breedloves a lot. I really like them. They're the main China ones. They're great. They're they're $600. So but I like his too. That's because that's the ones for Micah, right?
Yeah, it's not really wood.
Yeah, it's not wood,
So
but it sounds
mind.
great.
No, it is wood. Kinda.
Here's one. Raymond. This is a good one, Raymond. I love these questions. What do you think of the Marshall Class 5?
Oh.
All right. This is good.
Wow.
Well, there's one behind Joe right now.
We've had so many discussions about the Class 5.
All right, you go first.
Hey, they're great, right? Made in England.
Right.
Super cool. Obviously, it's a one-trick pony. It's 5 watts.
Right.
I personally, picky, but I think they're very mid-heavy. And when I owned one, I couldn't get those mids out. So everything even pedals shoved through it. It didn't matter what speaker cabinet I had. It's just lots of mids. But I do think that they're pretty fantastic amps for what, about $300?
Yeah,
right?
they're used. They're about $300. They were new $350.
Right.
They're good investments because they're holding value.
Right? You like them, right?
I do.
Well,
I have one right there. I think they're cool because I decided that it's a made in England Marshall for the price of a high-end stomp box.
Mm-hmm.
So there it is. Do I love it? Absolutely not. But do I like it? Well, you know what it is? That's another thing too. I think it's got a weird thing going on. I have done recordings with it, right, with pedals, and I go, that sounds amazing. And then other nights, like you said, I'll plug into it and I go, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. So, but overall, I like it. So that's easy. Nathan says, "Oh man, did you guys get wings last night? I don't have a single wings place near me. I'd even settle for Hungry Monk." First of all, Nathan, you get this right. Hungry Monk has the best wings, right?
They're special.
They're
that's for
special.
Sure. They're really good.
So they're Nathan. Those are good. But yes, wings every Thursday night, of course. Okay, so here's the question from Loop to, I can't say it, man. I'm sorry. Looped to rhythm rhymes. Looped rhymes with. That's his name. What exactly is a Black Beauty? ? A Gibson Les Paul Standard, Deluxe, 2 pickups, 3 pickups. What's a Les Paul Black Beauty?
The technical.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to Google it, but it's black. It's a Les Paul.
Well, Black Beauty is a custom, right?
Right. 2 pickups. I don't know if there's anything more than that I'm missing.
Well,
right?
Black Beauty is just a black custom, right? With gold hardware.
Like 2 pickups.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
As far as necks and stuff like that, I don't know.
Yeah.
I would imagine 50s style neck.
Yeah, it's usually a chunkier neck, I would imagine. Okay, here's a good one. I like these. Right, keep these scenarios going. Banda No Way in Black. Banda No Way Back. Banda No Way Back says, if you have a chance to choose a 1983 or a 2015 SG, what do you pick?
Well, SGs are kind of funny in that they've changed, right? From their inception, not every year, but they do have different body styles to a certain extent. I don't know what the exact body style of an 83 SG is. Yes. But I guess the bottom line is I'd have to play them both, really.
My answer's simple. And this actually has nothing to do with SGs, but it'll cover all questions like this. When it comes to vintage guitars, I personally don't feel a need to pay more for a vintage guitar. So if you're asking me an 83 or 2015, I would buy the 83 if it was equal or less and I liked it, but I would not pay more for it just because it's older. And that's because unlike like a Ford Mustang that doesn't look like and doesn't drive like it did when it was vintage guitars are like the Les Pauls and Strats I have on the walls are pretty much like vintage guitars. And I think that's a pessimistic view because I work on them so much, right? Generally speaking, older guitars sound great, but they require more work, and I don't want to do more work. So Mark Love says, Joe, what's your favorite Neil Zaza CD?
Oh, you put me on the spot. I'll be honest. Neil Zaza is I think he's more your guy.
Yeah, well, he's not. He's just an underrated guitar player, or he's unknown.
He is. You know what? He's underrated as well.
Oh yeah, by far.
By far. I'm not as familiar as I should be with him, so I don't have a specific CD that I can name. I do. But every once in a while, right?
Yeah.
I listen. I'll just YouTube playlist. Start listening to his stuff.
Mark, my answer is Snap Crackle Pop. It's him, Bill Dickens, and Bobby Rock on drums, which I'm pretty sure was from Racer X. Is that right?
Don't know.
I don't know either.
Could be.
So, here's another one. Marwan wants to know, you have a time machine DeLorean. That's good to know. And you have to pick one guitarist to save from dying young. Who do you choose?
Wow.
Yeah, you know.
So we're
First of
assuming
all,
they're so they're dead now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, right?
Yeah, and you gotta save them. So you know it's gonna be like Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Randy Rhoads.
You know what? Mine would be Hendrix because he probably would still be alive today, and I'm just really curious as to what he would come out with. Right, the past 50 years.
Right.
Right, because he's been dead since 1970. So think about that.
Plus, you know, I would say Hendrix too, but my reasoning's different. Because his career was only, 3 years long?
Yeah, 67, 70, just about.
Just because, unlike maybe Randy Rhoads and Stevie Ray Vaughan that had a little bit longer career, even though it was not much longer, it'd be interesting to see if he got a little bit longer career, what would happen too.
And I feel like Stevie Ray Vaughan and Randy Rhoads would probably stay on that track of...
Yeah.
Just what?
Yeah, they would keep doing the same thing because 69 is a crazy year. Woodstock, right? 60, right? The years he's in play, music's really started changing.
Right. So that's why I'm super curious as to what he'd come up with.
Biker Dill said he would choose Stevie Ray Vaughan. Well, you know, here's the great thing about that. There's no wrong answer because it would be a lot better if we all got DeLoreans and we all got to save one. And then there, but yeah, okay. Bob O'Neill says, "Do you still have the Les Paul soap bar from the Sam Ash video?" That's another thing we were talking about today. So, Bob, that's easy. I do. I tried to sell it, what is it, Tuesday? Right, is when I decided. He was even asking me about it. He's like, why are you trying to sell it? So, here's what happened. I like it a lot, but I prefer the gold tops to have cream, right, stuff. So, I looked online, and I need cream pickup covers, a cream pick guard, and knobs and a switch tip cover, and it was like $130, $160 and I was in that mood where I'm like, I don't know if I want to dump $160 into this, and so I go, you know what, I'm just gonna get rid of it. And then shortly after I said that, I said I don't know. So I'm in flux on that guitar. The guitar itself is fantastic. I play it, it's great, right? I prefer cream hardware on gold tops, so I'm trying not to dump money into this guitar that I bought from the video as a whim. It's not like that video. When I did that video, he was with me. It was an honest video. I didn't really need a guitar. I just did it to do a video and try an idea. And so sometimes it's hard to keep putting money into a project. Let's see. Okay, all right. Blues Trucker saying, I don't think Hendrix would have continued to make cutting edge music. Yeah, I mean, I don't think...
Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? But yeah, I don't think it's cutting edge. I would just like to see what he would have done. Mostly because, think of it this way. Think of Hendrix as just such a major influence on so many guitar players. So, Mark also wants to know if we like Vito Bratta.
Well, I grew up in the 80s.
Yeah.
Of course.
You know, Vito Bratta, what's great is if you listen to his solos sometimes, just the solos, they sound like a beautiful instrumental.
They do. His tone and all that reverb.
Right.
He's great.
So. You know what? BV Ninja said would bring back Danny Gatton.
Yeah, okay.
Right? That's
Country blues.
Country blues. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always tough, for when anybody passes away, but as musicians, as artists, to see other artists that create things disappear, you always feel robbed.
It's a bummer.
Right, yeah. And that counts for all arts, but because when they create stuff, it impacts us so much. You hate the idea that you got robbed of more of it, right? So yeah, that's why those questions are fun, because it's really not a question about who's valued the most. It's really whose inspiration would you like to see more from before it was cut off too short, right? So, okay, so let's see. MJ Toso was saying he was laughing when he heard Bowling for Soup was my favorite band. Nothing wrong with it, just was unexpected. Yeah, they are, and I mean literally, I'm not kidding. They are my favorite band. I think I know how to physically play every single song, to some extent. So yeah, isn't that funny? I don't know. I just like them. They're funny. I think it's because I like a good laugh. Let's see. All right, here's another one. It says, if you could meet one of your favorite guitar players, who would it be? And of course, now we're talking live. We're not talking about your favorite guitar player. Who would it be?
Some of my favorites I've actually had the opportunity to meet, like Paul Gilbert, John Petrucci. Those two guys are they're up there. But I've not met Malmsteen. Yeah. And I just, there's something awesome about him. So I would like to meet him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
It's right because he's a character. He's out there.
Yes.
The hold on. I'll tell you this one second. Let's see. Who would I like to meet? Well, I've met a lot of them too. I met Monty Montgomery. I met Paul Gilbert. I met Nuno Bittencourt twice. I've met a lot of guitar players that I thought, oh, these guys are cool guys to meet. Tremonti. Okay. I really like Tremonti, so I probably want to meet him. He just looks like a cool guy. I've never met him. Lundy saying he would have brought back Dwayne Allman.
Okay.
Isn't Dwayne Allman still alive? No, he died.
Yeah, he's the one that died many moons ago.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, hey Phil, we can tell you're a Strat guy because of all those Strats hanging on the wall behind you. Blues Trucker, that is not how you can tell I'm a Strat guy. Because here's how I know. I physically do not have any one number of guitars more than any one number of guitars. I have equal amounts of guitar. I have 2 Les Pauls. I have 2 Strats. I have 2 Ibanez's. I have 2 Gretches. Mm-hmm. I have 2 PRS's. So, yeah, I don't have physically any more number of one guitar than another.
It's like the Noah's Ark of guitars.
Except for Ibanez's. So if you were trying to figure out what kind of guitar guy I was. In fact, here's a funny story. So he's a Les Paul guy and I'm a Strat guy. What do you have the most guitars of?
Les Pauls right now.
Really? Oh, are you sure?
It might be Ibanez's.
It might be Ibanez's. I have the most amount of Ibanez's too. We talk about this all the time. It's the branding that happened because we were kids, right? We have Ibanez's even though we don't play them, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And in fact, if I didn't do videos, you'd probably never see me play the Ibanez's, right? I play them in some videos, but otherwise they're just wall art to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I do like my FR 1620.
Yeah. I mean, I like them. That's not the question. I just don't play them. So, let's see. Somebody's asking one album for the rest of your life. Go. Oh, well, that's easy. I could listen to any one. Bowling for Soup album. Just pick it. I wouldn't care which one. I listen to them all the time. You got one?
I'm picking a Dream Theater album.
Oh, Dream Theater album?
Yeah.
If you could pick if you could pick a new amp between the Fender Blues Deluxe and the Fender Hot Rod, what would you pick? And I'm going to add why and why.
I don't know. I would have to A/B them.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as those two, I feel like they're kind of similar.
They are the same.
In ways.
The only difference is the Hot Rod Deluxe has the boost. It can boost the gain channel where the Blues Deluxe does not have that ability. And I believe the Blues Deluxe can turn the reverb on and off. There's a speaker change that's different. Mostly it's just tweed. I like tweed better, so I'd probably pick the Blues Deluxe.
And for me, every time Fender has a boostable gain, right? I never use it.
Yeah, so...
I don't know. It depends on my mood.
Okay, let's see. This question got a little weird. It says Blues Breaker or Tweed, but I don't know what the Tweed is, so you're going to have to reframe that one. Roger's saying he listens to Iron Maiden Somewhere in Time forever. That's a lot.
Ooh.
Okay. Oh, what a great question, Marwin. Marwin's saying, what do you think is the best way to develop better tone? I hear so many great guitarists, and I'm hitting those notes, and it's night and day. So we'll just pare it down to the best part. What do you think the best way to develop better tone is?
Would it be as simple as starting out with different strings?
Well, yeah.
I mean, I guess what...
Well, like, for instance, for me, it would be developing your ear, right?
Okay, so you know what you're going after.
Yeah, you got it right. To me, that was the argument we used the other night when we were talking about the Kempers and stuff. Is I was saying, look, when you develop your ear and you keep training your ear, yeah, the Kempers clone amps, and my ear can detect that is what it sounds like. But again, I guess my argument was there's no Kemper sound, there's no Axe-Fx sound. So it's like, the idea that I can't hear what it is really doesn't intrigue me. You know what I mean? The fact that it sounds like something else is cool that it does that, but it doesn't inspire me because it doesn't have that sound. Although I would totally use one of those units, no problem. If I was playing it live, it's just sitting in the bedroom. I don't have a need 20 different tones. Let's see. Yeah, this question is: if you could join one and play in one big band, what would it be? Well, mine would be Bowling for Soup. What band would you join?
Yeah, if I had the skills, I'd be Slash.
Oh, Slash. Yeah, but then
I'll be Izzy Stradlin. How's that?
Yeah.
With that DeLorean time machine and go back to the 80s.
Yeah. Jack wants to know if they make leather straps for the clip straps. They do. I have one. But I think they don't make the one I have anymore. I think it's the Steve Vai strap is the leather one. But they do. And there's knockoff clip straps too, so you can get those either. And somebody's asking about a BC Rich, but that guitar I'm not super familiar with. There is. Let's see. Les Paul can't be wrong. You guys are funny. Okay. Any more questions? Otherwise, we'll probably kind of call it because we were going to do an hour and it's just a little over. Let me get rid of this. Just a little over an hour.
Hour and a half.
Hour and a half.
Wow.
Okay, so any last thoughts? Okay, let's see if I can understand this question. Okay, well, 63 Tim Fred says, what kind of guitars would Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton play? They wouldn't. They're not cool enough to play guitar. I don't have.
I'm not touching that one.
Yeah, no. That
was good.
Yeah, it was good, right? Okay, ready? What's your ideal situation for playing rock that uses varying amounts of gain? Mark V and manually change amp settings, or use clean amp and use different pedals? Each instance, ideally, I'd use pedals, pedal boards. If I need a lot of situations, a pedal board is just an easy fix for me. And sometimes I do believe that we are hearing pedals more than we're hearing amps.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, it's just.
I think the pedal option for distortion might not be as great when you're playing at loud volumes, but you'd have to try it out. Julian
Kinderman saying Fender canceled the standards. What's next? Well, remember, they didn't cancel them; they changed them. They're just now called the Professional Series. It's really just like the Deluxe became the Elite. Really think of it this way: it's not a trick. It's just they need to refresh the brands, right? You know, Apple makes Apple iPad 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Pro, Deluxe. They do that because, again, they need to differentiate these product lines. So what happens is, you can revise the Deluxe lines a couple times, what they did, and then at some point it gets a little washed. The standard line had got revised in 2008, right, when they changed a few things, and that's the same thing. You can only revise the line so many times, and then it just gets a little, right? And so they're doing that. Why? Because they can sell more guitars, and it works because dealers are putting in orders for professional Strats for December when they don't need them,
right?
Right? So it works. We're buying guitars we don't need. So good on Fender for figuring out how to sell us guitars we don't need. So, but hey, you know what? There's worse things you can do with your money, that's for sure, than buying an American Fender Strat guitar. Here's a good one. Biker Dill saying, who inspired you to play guitar?
Slash,
that's your guy? So you heard Slash and you're like, I'm playing guitar
Actually,
now.
It was John Sykes first.
Oh, John Sykes.
With Whitesnake. And then about the same time, right, Whitesnake, and Appetite for Destruction came out. And that was it. I had to play.
For me, what got me to want to play guitar was Mick Mars.
Okay.
Because I got Motley Crue, I think Girls. And then I was like, whoa, this is cool. I'm going to play guitar. And then about 5 seconds later it was Steve Vai. And funny thing about that, I don't think I've ever learned physically a real Motley Crue or Steve Vai song ever in my life. So they got me there, but then I immediately, as soon as I started playing guitar, I just started finding other people. But they were the ones I was like, I want to do what they're doing. Best country guitar player? Best country guitar player. I mean, there's so many good. They're all good.
Oh, my goodness, there's so many. I couldn't pick one.
So, obviously, the easy ones are like Brad Paisley is great, and God, who's the one that he sang with Reba McEntire? What's wrong with me?
Johnny Highland.
Johnny
Highland.
Highland.
How could we forget Johnny Highland?
Player. Of course, then.
He might be my favorite country player.
Really? I like.
Man.
Who's the guy who's endorsed by PRS now? He's amazing too. I don't know why I'm spacing tonight.
It's getting late.
It is getting late. So, like I said, last two, we'll pick two ones real quick. The David Elson says, MXR full bore metal pedal. Any thoughts? It's a metal pedal. It's got a noise gate in it. That's the coolest thing about it, though, is having a noise gate. I think the idea of putting a noise gate in a high gain pedal is sweet.
Yes.
And then last one is what do you think of hybrid strings like 9 to 46?
Cool.
Yeah, I use them a lot. It's I like the idea of changing out the gauges in the strings to whatever it makes, right? And then Jimbo wants to know, what are your favorite guitar-related YouTube channels to watch?
Brent Mason. A lot of people are saying.
Brent Mason.
There
That's
you go.
that. And
yes.
so you know, I
Yes.
think I just got an email today. I glanced at when we were dealing with all this. I'm pretty sure PRS just sent me an email saying they discontinued the Brent Mason model. That's why I was having trouble thinking of his name, because there was another discontinuous in there too, but Brent Mason.
Yes.
Yeah, he's probably my favorite.
He's awesome.
Yeah. And then, but, wait, what was I saying?
I cut you off.
Oh, yeah, string gauges. I don't know what I was saying. We got sidetracked. Oh, no, what are your favorite YouTube channels for guitar? Pete Thorne. I mean,
I like Steve Terryberry. Is that his name?
Stevie Terry. Yeah, Terry Bear. Stevie T. Well, I can just say what I watch if that helps. I watch Chapman. I watch Tone King. I watch Pixie Licks. I watch Johnny Bean. In fact, that's what sucks, because we kind of crossed over the Johnny Bean show tonight. That's why we were doing it earlier, and then I was going to do it, but then we thought we got to figure this out and do it. So we promised not to ever jack around the Johnny Bean show again. I promise to be done before that. What else? I don't want to forget anybody. There's just so many good ones. There's a lot of good YouTube channels that I watch. So if I forgot anybody, I feel bad. It's just because there's a lot. I'm addicted like a lot of people. Okay, here's one, and we'll leave with this one. How do you get a company to listen to the needs of the customers? I am blind, and I need accessibility to software editors and for models and modeling software.
Wow.
Yeah, that's tough. Right? I mean, it's tough to get any company, because that's not your question. It sounds like, right? Your real question is, how do you get a company to not focus on the majority rules concept?
Right. It's hard.
And right? I mean, that's really what it is. And it has nothing to do with being blind. Anytime anyone says, how do I get a company to make more left-handed guitars? How do I get a company to do this? How do I get this? Really, what you're really saying is, how do I get a company that's really focused on what the bulk of, where they can get the bulk of money to focus on smaller amounts? And the only answer I have is focus on smaller companies. Right? You're always looking for a company to niche a bigger company out. So that's where you need to focus. If it was me and I was looking for something special, I wouldn't talk to big companies that do it, because they're just, that's not how big companies think. And that's not a dig against them or anything. It's just they're a big machine, and they run like a big machine. So you find small companies, find small developers that may be interested. And maybe if you can explain to them articulately how there is a market, because you're the market, right? They will listen, because remember, some companies' waste of time is some other small companies living, right? So make that happen. So somebody says we should keep the QAs going. Not tonight, but just going. We plan to. And and one paintball fan 200 said, please answer my question. Well,
you better answer.
Yeah, no. I'll give it 1 second, Paintball. If I can find your question in this mix. I mean, you guys understand, right? You see how this is scrolling. You just can't hit everything. And Paintball, I really cannot find... Oh, here you are. Have you ever heard of a guitar brand called... Oh, my goodness. What is that? Oh, I don't hit the mic.
You did something. You broke it.
I broke it. That.
Arietta?
Yeah, Arietta.
No.
No, isn't a good brand. I don't know. But Paintball Fan 200, I will tell you this, if this helps. When anyone asks me, like, what do you think of this brand or this brand, small brands, sometimes it's legit, like it's a small builder building stuff, but most of the time it's just another person branding Chinese guitars. And then there's so many of them, you just can't figure it out. So that's what's tough, right? So it's not that it's bad or good, it's just tough to hear everything. So everybody's like, thank you, Phil and Joe. That's cool. And I thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you guys checking us out tonight. Like I said, we'll do more of these. We're going to focus it, and we promise not to jack it up anymore. Or at least I won't jack it up anymore. I don't want to. Joe had nothing to do with it. And then, other than that, you guys have an amazing night, and thank you. As always, know your gear.